This is a special podcast presentation from 700WLW.com. This is Doc Thompson On Demand.
It's not looking good in Japan. I think it's being overblown a little bit. Not for what they're going through, but the effects around the world and the effects on America. People are freaking out. I'm serious. People, other countries, 5,000 miles away, had to calm down their citizens saying, listen, if radiation escapes into the atmosphere in Japan, it's not going to be a big deal to you. The question of the safety at nuke plants all around the country are being called into question now. And there's nothing wrong with investigating and making sure everything's safe. You know, this has brought it to the forefront again, but let's not flip out about it. And people certainly are going crazy. Now, if you would like to help out, if you would like to donate, go to my blog, 700WLW.com. I have a fund set up there through our parent corporation, Clear Channel Communications, Storm Aid for Japan. You can get all the details. Or if you'd like to help out locally, a great organization is Matthew 25 Ministries. They do a great job helping out around the world. So the details are also at my blog, 700WLW.com, brought to you by the American Trading Company. More on Japan in a couple of minutes. I want to get your take on this. I need your help with this. What is it about the looting? I keep hearing people talk about the looting or the lack of looting in Japan. Yeah, they're right. The people are incredibly civil. They talk about anytime there's a natural disaster, there's looting. Yeah, you see some of that. We've had some of that here when there's disasters. But when there's other disasters or critical times, there isn't. So what's the difference? Details on that coming up, but take some of your calls in just a minute. At 10 and 16, we're going to talk about the governor's budget proposal. Right now, though, joining me on the phone is Harmon Is it Kozlow?
Kozlow.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Doc?
Doing well. The producer of the Atlas Shrugged movie that is due to come out. When is that due to come out?
Well, we're scheduled to come out on April 15th in about 11 markets across the United States.
Only in 11, though. And what 11 are those? Is there any in Ohio, around the tri-state? Is Cincinnati one of them?
Well, we're looking at the Los Angeles, Orange County market, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, Chicago, Boston, Philly, New York, D.C., Dallas, and South Florida. But we may be adding more. We have a Demand It feature at our website, www.atlasshrugged.com, for people to demand it to come to their local cities.
And this is the movie based on the novel by Ayn Rand, which was, I think, penned in the 50s, 1955?
Yeah, the book was first published in 1957. But what's really ironic is that, the world that Ayn Rand described in her book is really the world that we're experiencing today. It's amazing,
isn't it? I mean, there are parts of it where you're going like, I can see that happening with them telling you how to live your life and stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for starters, many events from the story parallel real-life events today. For instance, in the story, the government passes, business thwarting laws like the anti-dog-eat-dog rule and equalization of opportunity bill. And then in real life today, the government's passing laws such as the Emergency Economic Stabilization Act and the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. So the relevance and parallels to what's going on today is really, really scary.
Yeah, it really is. And I've read the book probably 15, 20 years ago now. So I don't remember each and every detail, but I remember the general attitude. You're right. That's what's going on now. And the class warfare, instead of saying, you know what, I'm self-sufficient, I believe in myself, I'm going to go out and do things, try to help myself, it's all, well, why don't I have? Look at that person, they have.
No, exactly. I mean, the message, and we really think we've done a good job with the movie in portraying Ann's vision in that it demonstrates how self-reliance is the true key to happiness as well as the path to true liberty for all. And that message, no matter if it was written in the 50s or it's something you're talking about today, is still very, very relevant.
I saw the trailer for it, and I'm going to put a link to the trailer so people can see it themselves on my blog, 700WLW.com. The trailer looked great. I watched it probably about 3 weeks ago. I don't recall there being any really big-name actors in it.
No, we John Aguilera got the rights to make the movie about 18 years ago. He's an entrepreneur. He had the expectation that a studio would come in and finance the movie and want to own this as part of their library, but that never materialized. Even though actresses as notable as Angelina Jolie had expressed an interest in being in the film. When I came on board in April of 2010, his option to control those rights would expire if we didn't start a movie in June. So we really didn't have the luxury of trying to negotiate some deal with a A-list actor. Instead, we went out, we just cast the best possible talent we could, and we think we assembled just an amazing cast that really portrayed these characters excellently.
Yeah, the trailer looked very well done. It's interesting that Angelina Jolie, I originally heard, a lot of rumors float around on the internet and that she and Brad Pitt had the rights to it, but they never had the rights to it. It was always John.
Right. They never had the rights to it. And really, a movie based on the book is about the book. It shouldn't really be about who's playing a particular role. When you go in the theater to experience the movie, you want to see Ann's words come to life. And it's not about watching someone perform them, it's about experiencing them. And I think, the cast that we assembled, you really go in there and it takes you inside the story, the very story that many people read early in their lives and were inspired by. And I think the movie accomplishes the same thing for them.
Well, the thing that was interesting about Angelina Jolie being involved, and the reason, for the last couple of years when I've seen, the things on the internet, the speculation, if it was being made, if she was producing it, was whether or not the movie would be true to the book, because ideologically she doesn't seem like somebody who would be interested. Now, not all actors and actresses are the same as the characters they play. I mean, they play murderers and everything else, but people were very concerned. Is it true to the book?
No, absolutely. And we think that one of the reasons it took so long for the movie to get produced was based on the fact that, writers would come in and try to reimagine or change really what was going on in the book. And as we embarked on our mission to make the movie, we just found that it was just much easier to follow the book as best we possibly could, to utilize Ann's words from her character's mouths to put them onto the screen. And I think that, when people have seen and pre-screened the movie, that's what I think they've been the most pleased about, is to see just how well we've been able to keep faithful to the book so that we haven't taken away any of the magic that people experienced when they read the book.
And this is one of those books that people take that seriously, that they want to make sure it's accurate. It's like the book was. I remember reading a blog about it that I think it was MIT, but regardless, there was a group of college students who returned to their 20th anniversary, and they had them take a survey. What were things like in college, this, that, and the other? What has your life been about? And one of the questions they asked them, what book most changed your life? And number one was the Bible, and number two was Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, no, there was I think you're referring to, there was a survey, believe it was done by the Library of Congress, and the survey only went out to several thousand people, so you have to put it in its proper perspective. But right, you're correct. The second most influential book was listed as being Atlas Shrugged. I mean, listen, this is a book about heroes and people that change the world, and then the government interfering with those with their efforts, and what happens, and that type of philosophy. I mean, it's very powerful and impactful on people.
All right, so we're looking at April 15th. You got, of course, you went for a lot of the big markets. You have to do that to make sure that, you're hitting the biggest audience there. I wouldn't think that it would be as well received in San Francisco or Boston as maybe it might be in Texas, but I could be wrong. Maybe people will love it.
We looked at those cities. We got some help from the Ayn Rand Institute just to find out where the book tends to sell the most. And that's what caused us to decide on a number of those cities. And yet it was surprising to us, the number of people in some particular areas in the United States that actually, are reading the book and buying the book in greater quantities than other places in the States.
50 years, 21 million copies of Atlas Shrugged sold.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a very timeless, inspiring story. I'm really, really proud that I was able to become, a part of this. I encourage your listeners to come visit us at our website, atlasshruggedpart1.com, to become part of, in a sense, the Army, and hopefully we can effectuate some change and inspire some people if they come and experience our movie.
When you say part one, is there a part two?
Well, the book is actually split into 3 parts. So we just filmed the first part of the book. It's about a third of the story. It's primarily the character development, so you get really acquainted with the various characters in the story. So as you move into parts 2 and 3 of the book, just as you would in the movie, you'll have a much deeper understanding and appreciation of what's going on and the things that they're experiencing. So we just basically followed the book and how the book was split into 3 parts.
And it's a big book, so I'm sure you could have done 6 movies. I really wanted to.
Absolutely. And what's important for your listeners to appreciate and understand is that because the book is so long, so dense, and filled with so many great things, rather than try to squeeze it all into a 2-hour movie, we decided let's make something that's very entertaining, very accessible to people, and get them interested and involved in what was going on in the book. And so we just chose to do the first part, and I think that the people that have seen the movie always come out and say, "Wow, when can I come and see part 2?"
If it's successful in those markets, will you be trying to roll it out in other markets? Can we look for it here? Play some, like maybe Newport on the Levee, something like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what we're doing is typically in Hollywood terms would be called a platform release. We're just going out there. We're trying to show the exhibitors that there is an audience for this type of entertainment. It's no different than what they do with some faith-based films, family-based films, where they roll it out in smaller markets because the exhibitors don't really understand and appreciate the loyalty and interest of the audience that likes to go to smart movies that are about relevant topics.
Well, it is such a built-in audience too. It's her. If people aren't familiar with Atlas Shrugged, they may be familiar with her book, The Fountainhead, which was made into a movie, black and white era. I think Gary Cooper starred in it.
Yeah, correct. And that movie, Ayn herself, was involved in the production, and she, I think, was very, very faithful to the book. What we've tried to do is, create a movie that will reach out an even broader audience than just people that love the book. Now, we've screened it for objectivists and people who have been very passionate and inspired by the book. They love the movie. We've shown it to people who have no familiarity, with the book, and they've come away and gone, "Wow, what a great character! This Dagny Taggart, a woman making things happen, smart, tenacious." Forces working against her, yet she's able to succeed.
Yeah, one of the lead characters is a powerful woman, and it was originally set during the Industrial Revolution area. She's second in charge of a rail line. Her brother's, because he's the male, is technically in charge, but she's really the power and the inspiration and the drive behind it.
Yeah, and they're just, you don't see movies where, mothers can take their daughters, families can take, their younger children and have them come out saying so inspired by the story simply because the characters themselves are so, inspirational, tenacious, and smart.
All right, we got Harmon Koslow, producer of the Atlas Shrugged movie. Appreciate you joining me, and I'll have a link at my blog, 700WLW.com.
All right, Doc. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this. I do hope it comes. I think it will. 21 million copies sold in 50 years. I got to believe there's a pretty good following. As soon as the theaters that it's screened in start showing a huge success, I think it'll probably roll out to the others. And if not, I guess I'll have to wait till it comes out on DVD, something like that. It's Doc Thompson, 700 WLW. Your Fox 19 Storm Tracker forecast for meteorologist Katie Morgan this afternoon. Thank golly, sunshine. High around 57. Mostly clear tonight, low 41. More sunshine on the way tomorrow. And a high near 70. It's 41 right now at the big one. Couple of emails. Steve checked in, Doc, at 700WLW.com. He said, for those of you who do not want to read the huge book, Atlas Shrugged, I recommend finding it on audio tape or DVD. He said he found it at a library some years ago, and it was worth it because it's a pretty big book. Rich checked in also via email, said we could sell that film out if we could get him to bring it to Newport. Yeah, it's such a huge following for the book, like it or not. You know that there's going to be a lot of people that have been anticipating this for a long time, and they would probably sell it out. I'm one who would go see it. If it was here now, I'd be there tonight. It's a good book and a great story. But see the trailer yourself. My blog, 700WLW.com.